When you think of comics, you think villainous men, supermen, and, let's not forget, the men who read them. Since its conception, men have dominated Glasgow's independent comic scene. However, unknown to the citizens of Glasgow, in between the pages of print publishing, there is a group of girls ready to bring comics back to the female gender. And their name is Team Girl Comic. Their story begins with the efforts of mild-mannered Gill Hatcher, a kind-hearted employee of the local RSPB who keeps Glasgow's wildlife rich and thriving.
My big thing when I was a kid was definitely wildlife and animals. Even though I grew up in a really urban environment, I lived sort of sometimes in Wishaw, sometimes in Motherwell. I was really lucky when I did live in Motherwell that I lived very close to a nature reserve, and one of my friends in school actually lived down in the estate. So I would actually spend a lot of time in nature, surrounded by woodland, and I always found this really inspiring. I was also a subscriber to a magazine called Animal Action, which I think was actually run by the RSPCA, but it wasn't so much about pets, it was more about wildlife conservation, how kids can take action to protect wildlife, and I found this really exciting. I did also read comics a lot, but I didn't really think of myself as a comics fan. The first comic that I ever got when I was maybe about 3 or 4 years old was called Twinkle, which was published by DC Thomson, and their tagline was specially for little girls. So it was full of lots of really lovely stories about animals and about teddy bear picnics and toy nurses, that kind of thing. Then I sort of graduated onto, like most kids in the UK, to the Beano. And things like the Bruins and Urwully, but I think even probably my biggest influence in terms of comics when I was a kid definitely was Tintin. I was absolutely obsessed with Tintin. I thought the stories were really exciting. I loved the fact that Tintin travelled the world. Every adventure was in a different place, and that was something that I was also really interested in when I was a kid. But I still didn't really think of it as comics, or just like another thing that I enjoyed. Previously were women who didn't know a lot about comics but had a vague interest. They might have just seen what was going on in the mainstream industry with superheroes and the difficulties that there are there for women. Now those kind of barriers are coming down, and there's been a lot more inlets for women to come in and experiment and do their own thing with comics. So I think that also has been part of this big change that we've seen with more women finding comics accessible and a more welcoming place for them.
When Gill is not keeping a watchful eye on the local wildlife, she is looking after the work of over 30 women comic artists. But, like the dynamic duos of Fiona and Cake and Serena and Luna, a helping hand can go a long way, especially in the form of Team Girl comic sidekick, MJ.
Team Girl is pretty important to me. When I first came across them, I knew that I wanted to do comics, but was just getting started and didn't really know where to begin. So going along to one of my first Comic-Cons and seeing them there, they were just a friendly face, and I felt I could get involved and sort of find my feet with them rather than and that prepared me to strike out on my own, and it's been really good because it just let me make a lot of friends as well.
But the work of these girls never quits as they prep for their upcoming mission, the winter webcomic release.
Well, the webcomic is something we started about just over a year ago in the sort of first run of the webcomic, and it had a much more structured format. It was like about 3 panels in a row, and the idea really with that was a few things. One, to try and get more people onto the website, to give us something to be regularly updating about and posting, and also just to give people in Team Gill Comic another outlet for their work. And it was quite a restrictive format, but some people really took to it, and MJ was one of the people that submitted a lot of webcomics over that period.
Yeah, I like that format a lot. I felt like it helped me work on my timing a lot, because it's just a very like just 3 or 4 beats and that's all you've got to tell your story or make the joke. So it was really good at helping me become really efficient with how I put together comics. So I really liked it, and then I end up using that same structure for my comic that I brought out this year as well.
As the working day is done, Girl Comic just wants to have fun, as Gill, MJ and leading Girl Comic member Ailey have a night out for drinks.
It's been really nice to see TGC change so much, because I think when I first started it, I didn't really know what it was going to become, but I kind of had this idea that maybe, I guess I was thinking more about at the time, because I was seeing all these really silly, daft, wee sort of humour comics. I kind of thought it'd be more like that kind of thing, and maybe it would appeal to sort of younger girls. And the first few issues were a bit like that, but I like the fact that now that the more people that have got involved, they've all brought their own perspective to it. It's kind of become more adult because it's become a lot more personal. So it's more of an adult comic now, but I kind of like the fact that that's happened. You know,
yeah,
I think
it's
that's
good.
what
It's
people
kind of
wanted
evolved.
to do. Yeah, exactly.
Since the day Beagle sat on kennels and dreamt of flight, the comic world learned that making your dreams come true can be tough. But with the night at an end, and with comics both print and digital on the way, Gill, MJ and the rest of Team Girl Comic have a bright future ahead of them.
Well, we've been thinking quite a lot about what we're going to do with TGC in the future. There's been some big changes. This year we did things a little bit differently because we just brought out one big issue. It was our issue 10, so we thought we'll make a big deal out of it. We'll, make it a bumper issue. We got a few special guests involved. We had a big party in the summer, and that actually worked really well for us, and it meant that we can spend the rest of the year focusing on different projects. So I think we might do that in the future, just do one big issue once a year, have a big party and celebrate, and then the rest of the year we can focus more on making it a social thing. So maybe we could meet up a little bit more, we can make it more of a sort of community, and also we've got the webcomic as well, so it's not like we're doing nothing throughout the rest of the year. We're still being active and showing people that we're a really active group getting involved in loads of different projects.
So now the women of Glasgow can sleep safely knowing the heroines of pulp print are still on the watch.